Warm greetings. I'm Amna Abdul Kareem. Today, we, the students of 9th A, are here to present a small documentary on French Revolution. Today, 14 July, is celebrated as Bastille Day. It is celebrated to commemorate the destruction of Bastille, which happened in 14 July 1789. French Revolution, also called Revolution of 1789, took place between 1787 and 1799. Some of the major causes that led to French Revolution are social cause, unbalanced social structure of society during the old regime, economic cause, it was the main reason of the depletion of the treasury of the king, political cause, king was a person of mediocre intelligence, immediate cause, formation of the Estates General, intellectual cause, influence from the writers, and widespread inequality between the rich and poor classes, alongside growing dissatisfaction with the poor antiquated feudal system among the poor. The growing popularity of the works of a number of intellectuals who argued for social reform. Crop failures in 1788 compounded existing economic restlessness. French partition in the American Revolution that drove the government to the brink of bankruptcy. And most importantly, financial crisis. The financial crisis of the French crown played a role in both creating the social background to the revolution, generating widespread anger at the court, and arguably most importantly, forcing Louis to call the Estates Generals. The court was deeply in debt, which in conjunction with a poor financial system created a crisis. In order to service the debt, given the crown could not find no more willing lenders, Louis attempted to call upon the nobility via an assembly of notables. However, the nobility refused to help. Their power and influence had been steadily reduced since the reign of Louis XVI, and hence Louis was forced to rely upon the Estates Generals. This meant that the discontent Third Estate, damaged by poor policy and low standards of living, were given the opportunity to air their grievances, and when they did not receive the desired response, the revolution proper began. They denied the authority of the king and set up their own government.
The meeting of the Estates General. The Estates General of 1789 was the first meeting since 1614 of the French Estates General, a general assembly representing the French estates of the realm, the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners. On 5 May 1789, Louis XVI called together an assembly of the Estates General to pass proposals for new taxes. A resplendent hall in Versailles was prepared to host the delegates. The Estates General convened for several weeks in May and June 1789. Each estate had one vote, and the first and second estates would always vote the same thing since they were both rich. The third estate wanted one man, one vote, which would allow them to outvote the combined first and second estates. When Louis XVI rejected the third estate's demand of one man, one vote, members of the third estate walked out of assembly in protest. The third estate declared themselves redefined as the National Assembly, an assembly not of the estates but of the people. They invited the other orders to join them, but made it clear that they intended to conduct the nation's affairs with or without them.
One of the most important incidents of French Revolution is the Tennis Court Oath, led by the Third Estate for their rights and freedom from monarch. It is an essential part in the history of French Revolution. When the King Louis XVI conducted the meeting of Estates Generals, a need was kept forward by the Third Estate, and it was the formation of Constitution. But Louis XVI and the other two estates were not in favor with the opinion of Constitution, and they hardly opposed it. So the Third Estate walked out. On 20th of June, they all assembled in the hall of an indoor tennis court in the ground of Versailles, and they swore not to disperse till they had drafted a constitution for France that would limit the powers of monarch and to give them rights. This event is known as Tennis Court Oath. This was a major incident in the formation of constitution in France, and the Third Estate had a major role in the formation of constitution in France.
The Bastille began life as a fortress built in the mid to late 1300s to house a garrison of royal soldiers belonging to Charles V. The fortress and its garrison were installed to protect the eastern flanks of Paris from English raiders during the Hundred Years' War. By the early 1400s, the fortress had been expanded to become one of the largest structures in Paris. The Bastille's tower loomed over Faubourg Saint-Antoine, a working-class district known for its rowdiness and occasional defiance. A contingent of royal troops was permanently housed there, both to defend the city walls and keep order inside them. Over time, the building acquired the name Bastille. The word itself is a generic term for any fortress at the gate of a city. By the reign of Louis XI, the Bastille had become a royal prison. It continued this function until the French Revolution. Though by the late 1700s, there were rarely more than 20 or 30 prisoners. Louis XVI then made the first of two fateful decisions. The king, probably on the advice of conservative ministers, ordered the assembly of royal troops at several critical locations: at Versailles, at Sèvres, at the Champ de Mars in southwest Paris, and at Saint-Denis in the city's north. It appeared the king was planning to impose martial law to regain his power. The people of Paris also spent July 12th and 13th gathering arms in order to defend the city from an anticipated royalist assault. Gun shops, small armories, and private collections were looted. On the morning of July 14th, a crowd of several thousand people marched on the Hôtel des Invalides in western Paris. The crowd set off on a 2.5-mile march to the fortress, howling several small cannons. They formed deputations to speak with the Marquis de Launay, the Bastille's governor. Details of what transpired on the afternoon of July 14th are complex and confused. At first, the crowd seemed hopeful that de Launay would relent and simply grant them access to the Bastille's stores. But de Launay was not the compromising sort. He had received official orders from the Hôtel de Ville to hold the Bastille at any cost. The crowd pleaded him to withdraw the fortress' 8 cannons, pointed threateningly at the suburbs below, and to surrender the Bastille's gunpowder to the people. De Launay agreed to the first, but not the second. Fearing a full-scale attack, the governor ordered his soldiers to fire on the invaders. It was a fatal miscalculation that would cost de Launay his life. Hearing the garrison had opened fire on the people, crowds around the fortress swelled, and for 3 hours the Bastille came under siege. Convinced the situation was hopeless and fearing they would be slaughtered, de Launay's officers urged him to surrender. De Launay first tried bluff, threatened to blow much of eastern Paris into oblivion. When this did not work, he surrendered the fortress. A large contingent then stormed the Bastille, arrested de Launay, fraternized with his soldiers, and released the prisoners. Those who entered the fortress were later honored with the title Vainqueurs de la Bastille or Vanquishers of the Bastille. Later, de Launay was seized by the crowd, chopped, and murdered.
France becomes a constitutional monarchy. First of all, let me tell you what is a constitutional monarchy. It is a system where there would be a king in a country, but he cannot do whatever he wants. His power is limited by the constitution. He has to rule according to the constitution. This is called a constitutional monarchy. In 1791, National Assembly completed the constitution, and now they have to give to the king to limit his power. And these power, instead of giving to one person, it is separated and given to different groups, called separation of power. which is legislature, judiciary, and executive. This is how France is a constitutional monarchy. Let's talk about active and passive citizen. Active citizen is citizen who can vote, which include men above 25 years and pays taxes which is at least equal to the wage which laborers get after working for 3 days. Passive citizen is citizen who didn't get the right to vote, which include all women and remaining men which is below 25 and above 25 but did not pay taxes. And from active citizen, they will select some people and vote for them, and they will become an electors, which is about 50,000 men. And from electors, they will vote some people and they will become a member in National Assembly, which is about 745 members. National Assembly can control the executive, which is the king and minister. And king have a veto power, which means he can say yes or no to a decision. Since National Assembly controls the king, he have to say yes. Judiciary, which is the judge, is directly elected by the active citizen. From active citizen to become an elector and electors to become a National Assembly member, they have to belong to the highest bracket of taxpayer, which means they have to pay highest tax. The constitution starts with the rights of man and citizen, such as right to life, freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, equality before law. This right is created as the natural and inalienable rights. And these belong to every human by their birth and cannot be taken away by anyone. It is a duty of state to protect these natural rights.
Hope you have understood at least a bit about French Revolution and learned something beneficial from this documentary. Thank you and have a nice day and happy Bastille Day.